Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit more about the two gunmen inside shelter number 3 in the JFK assassination. Now, the reason why I'm going to show this, okay, is because, I was receiving questions from people, and it's hard to answer a question through an IM or email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this video here, and I'm going to go into a little bit more details on when the images were taken, like shot number 4, shot number 6, and give a little bit more information in between there and show you how when we place things in time frames, okay, we get a lot more details from. Now, everybody knows that I found two gunmen inside of shelter number 3, as you see right here. This is the Mormon photo. But a lot of people ask me questions about this, which is very good questions. Don't get me wrong, very good questions. Some people ask me, how can the gunman take aim when he's looking out the top window with his rifle sticking in out of the lower window? Okay, well, when we're looking at the Mormon photo, remember when you're looking at one image, you think, well, it's impossible, or even how tall, this gunman, he has to be almost like 10 feet tall to be standing and looking out the top window. Okay, so that's why we do our investigations. Plus, we place things in time frames. The reason why we got placed like images and films and stuff, we have to place time frames on these. Because if we don't place time frames on these, we're not going to get the information that we need to solve a case. Now, what I did was I looked at why is the man 10 feet tall. This is why he looks like he's 10 feet tall, which he's not. As you see here, and as everybody knows, I ID the gunman inside shelter number 3 was the Three Tramps. This is how he was positioned on the inside of the shelter when he took the fatal headshot to JFK. So now what I did is everybody knows that when I do research, okay, my research is different than everybody else's research. Okay, so what I did was, as everybody knows, I take a map like this, place location of eyewitness accounts, location of where people were standing when they was filming and taking images and everything else, and placing the shots in their location and stuff. I do this to pull information out, but I also make other maps as well. Everybody looks at this one and says, well, it's just this map here. No, actually, I make a lot more maps because you have to make more so you can get more detail and more information from them. Just like the films, okay? I'll mark the films, put the location of the people where they was filming at, the length of their film, and the location of when JFK's limo started. As you see right here, we have the Orville Nix film. We're going to use an example in the Zapruder film. Orville Nix film, we see he was in this location right here when he filmed. He filmed from this spot to this spot here. This is only 7 seconds of film that we're seeing of the Orville Nix film of the assassination. JFK's film, we're seeing 28 seconds of the assassination, the whole assassination. However, we can't start it at the very beginning as he was filming because he was just filming Elm Street and JFK's limo wasn't even in frame at the time. So we had to start it with this point here, which is frame 133 when JFK's limo was first seen, to this location here where JFK's limo goes out of frame. All right, so we're looking at a total of, we're going to take off around 4 seconds there. So we're going to look at about 24 seconds of film from this point to this point here. Now remember, excuse me, congestion stuff. I was out all night on paranormal investigation. We have to keep in mind when we're doing time frames and we're pinpointing of when images were taken and when film was taken and or locations where they was taken at. We have to get all this information. If we don't get this information, we're just not going to what's used to actually doing an investigation if you're not going to go into this much detail. So we can actually have more understanding of when films were taken, when images were taken. As I point out and as I show, we look at the Orville Nix film. We see 2 shots coming from shelter number 3. Shot number 1, I'm going to say, is from gunman number 1, was inside the shelter. He took the fatal headshot to JFK. I know a lot of people out there says, no, the fatal headshot came from here, fatal headshot came from there. No, the fatal headshot to JFK, when JFK's head exploded open, we could see when this happened. We could see this when this occurred, because we have the Orville Nix film, we have the Bronson film that shows two shots come from that location. We could see in an Orville Nix film the shot being taken and JFK's head opening up. The Zapruder film, when we line it up, frame 26 of the Orville Nix film lines up with frame 313 of the Zapruder film. And in the Zapruder film, we can see where the bullet made contact as well, which is JFK's right side of JFK's head exploded open. Okay, same as frame 40 of the Orville Nix film. We can see the shot being fired, and this was to Governor Connally. And we could see in the Zapruder film, when Governor Connally was turning over to his left, the impacted bullet entering his back, which was frame 330. But also in the Orville Nix film, we can see when Governor Connally was shot, he falls right into his wife's lap. We can see this as well. So we know that the fatal headshot came from the gunman inside of shelter number 3. We know this for a fact. We know the shot to Governor Connally as he was turning off to his left and the bullet struck on the back, that came from shelter number 3 on the side. Like I said, when I point things out, or when I talk about shots, I show photographic evidence to show people when shots occurred. I'm not telling you a story. I'm telling you what can be seen in films and images, because this is what the films and images show us. Now, as everybody knows, we have the Mormon Photo that shows both gunmen right here. But before we go into that, let me show you this real quick so you get more detail. All right, here is a shot to Governor Connally. We got a close-up of it. We see the gunman's head, his hairline, the rifle fire, and everything else. And we see that he's actually aiming his rifle, but he's firing his rifle from his left side. Now, when we go into the, the gunman on the inside of the shelter, we can see he's actually aiming his rifle. And he's taking his shot. Now we can see his head down in this window right here, because we see his head right here, we see his hairline right here, we see the rifle here, we see the rifle fire and the sparks coming from the rifle, we see that smoke trail. So he was aiming his rifle. So now, when did he look out the top window? Well, this is why we go into time frames, so we can get that information, so we know why he was looking out. When we put these back in perspective in our locations, which pull up this one right here, as you see right here. And I'll zoom in just a little bit. We know the gunman was in this location right here in shelter number 3. We have the location of Mr. Zapruder right here. We have the location of Orville Nix right here when they was filming. We have Darnell coming down the road here, coming down Elm Street here. We have Mary Mormon right in this location here. So now we could place time frames on these images, because we have the first shot, which is a fatal headshot to JFK, happened at 14.0 seconds. That's frame 26 of this Orville Nix film and frame 313 of the Zapruder film. Then we have the shot to Governor Connally, which was frame 40 of the Orville Nix film or frame 330 of the Zapruder film. The fatal headshot occurred, now shot number 4 that day, but we're just going to talk about these two shots here, happened at 14.0 seconds. The second shot, which was fired from here, happened at 20.87 seconds. That's a shot to Governor Connally. So there's approximately almost 6.81 seconds in between both of those shots. Now, Mary Mormon took her image in between these two shots. We can base this on a lot of evidence to back this up. After the fatal headshot to JFK, the gunman comes up. This is how we get our story now as well. This is what the, when we look at the images and stuff. When Mary Mormon took her photo, she took an image, which I'll pull the image up. Let me bring up the color image so it's a lot better. When she took her image, the gunman already took the fatal headshot JFK because JFK's head's already opened up. After he took a shot, he looked up to get a clear, more clearer view of the shot he just took. And at the same time, we see this gunman coming around. He's coming around now to get ready to take his shot. So Mayor Mormon took the image at the exact right time after the gunman took his shot. He came up and looked up as the second gunman was coming around to take his shot. So this image here places her shot, taking this image in between shots number 4 and shot number 6. You see what I'm saying? And there was like 6 seconds in between both of those shots. So that's what she captured. She captured the gunman after he took a shot. He came up because you notice he's not aiming no more because the gun is aiming off into a different direction. He already took his shot. He already took aim to his shot. At the take shot, then he looks up so he got a better, clearer view. And JFK's head's already opened up, and the second gunman's to actually start coming around, and that's what he's doing right here. So see, we get that information now when we place everything back in the time frames. Mary Mormon took her image exactly at 15.07 seconds when we place them back in time frames. So she took her image of the gunman 1 second, 0.01 after the fatal headshot. Then we have the Darnell film. Darnell film shows the side view of the gunman still aiming his rifle. Again, this image was taken after he took his shot. Because when we look at this, okay, we see the one gunman. We're going to look at the Darnell image. We see the one gunman right here still aiming his rifle and the gunman behind him. Well, he actually, what he did was he took his shot and then he starts pulling back at the same time when the second gunman right here, the first, I'm going to say gunman number 1 because this will be gunman number 2, he's falling back now, and then first gunman, he's dropped down already behind him. So see, now we can pull more information from that now once we place these in time frames. Now, when Darnell filmed that part of his film showing the gunman still aiming a rifle was at 21.1 seconds. Now, the shot to Governor Connally happened and occurred at 20.87 seconds. So it's just a point of a few seconds in between when he took a shot and then Darnell took that part of the image of his film showing the gunman aiming his rifle. So you see, when you place this in the time frames and you put everything back in perspective and you look at it this way, you can get more understanding and more details that you can pull from it. And you know exactly more information of what was occurring inside of the shelter at the same time as what was occurring outside of the shelter. Just like I said right here. We know the gunman was standing on top of, which I'm going to pull this up right here. We know by the gunman looking out the top window, okay, he was standing on one of the tramps back here, which is the older tramp, which I already made a video on that. So we have the older tramp down on his hands and knees, the tall tramp on his back. He takes a shot and he looks up out the window while the second gunman comes around and takes his aim, takes a shot to Governor Connally. Okay, this is how we get this information because we put everything back in perspective. We look back at the images that was taken and the time frames that them images was taken. We get more of the true story now, what was going on and what was occurring inside that shelter at that time and when these 2 shots were fired. Because when we do it this way, like I said, the images and films can give us a lot of information once we put them back in time perspective. Because like the Mormon photo, people says, well, the Mormon photo, when you see the gunman, he's looking out the top window and you got a gunman standing on the side. Well, in the beginning, these gunmen was hiding behind that shelter. They didn't come out in view until the shots occurred. We have the gunman, he takes a shot, looks out the top window as the second gunman was coming around to take his shot to Governor Connally, and then they fall back into side the shelter so they can break their guns down or whatever, hide the rifle so they can start running out while the distraction shots are being fired so they can blend in with the people that's running in between the picket fence area and the shelter there going into the parking lot. We could get this information now because we placed every image and every film back in their location and back in perspective where they was being filmed at and the time frames we place on it. That's why I said when it comes to research, okay, and people ask me, how do you know this much information? How do you come up with this or how you come up with that? Is because when you do an investigation, okay, it's not only the shot you got to look for and a gunman's location. But there's a lot more information you got to find as well. It's like, where was this person standing when they took this image or when they took that image? What was the time frame? When was this taken? When was that taken? If you watch my other videos, you're going to see where I took Algen's image number 6 and line it up with the Zapruder film and even other films as well. But we line that up so we can know exactly when Algen took his image. Algen image number 6 was taken at the same time Mr. Zapruder was filming frame 254 of the Zapruder of his film. And then we go on so on and so on, so we can get more information, because in Algen's image number 6, we don't see no mark in the windshield whatsoever. But then we go into Algen's image number 7, and we see there is a mark in the windshield. So we got to know when that shot occurred. So it happened in between frames 254 of the Zapruder film. By lining this up, we can get that information, because when we look at it, okay, Algen's image number 6 was taken by frame 254 of the Zapruder film. Then Algen's image number 7 was taken by frame 391 of the Zapruder film. So now we know a starting point of when to look and find out when that shot occurred and struck that windshield was between frames 254 and 391. In between them frames there, we got to look for details, specific details. The bullet actually struck the windshield by frame 316 in the Zapruder film. Okay, we can know this because we see the impact of the bullet striking there, and also we could tell by other, even Orville Nick's film and the Bronze film, when we line this back up, we can see the reactions of the driver and the passenger, the where when that windshield was struck, they both went forward because the shot was coming from behind. So they both went forward because that bullet impact right there, and it jolts them, because everybody knows that if a bullet's going to come from behind you, what you're going to do, you're going to fall to the ground or go forward. As you see the Newmans, they said the shots came from directly behind them. So what do? They grab their children and place around underneath them and fall to the ground. Okay. But like I said, when you're doing research and you're doing films, and when you're analyzing films and when you're analyzing images, it's very important to get more details by going in depth to figure things out. As I point out here, when I make a map and I place location of the of the people that was filming and the distance that their films covered, and I'll see that and I'll keep that in mind. So when I pull up this map here, okay, which I'll pull up the other map right here. So when we look at this and then we place our images back in time frames and perspective time frames, and we place our images back in their location, okay, then we know that the shots, fatal headshot JFK and shot to Governor Connally happened in this location here, which was captured by both films right here, Nick's film and the Zapruder film. And then we know Mormon she was standing over in this location right here, so we know she took an image, but her image was taken in between shots, these two shots here, the fatal headshot JFK and the shot to Governor Connally. That image was taken in between there. And then the Darnell film frame was taken after the shot. So Mr. Darnell was running down this way. Even though a lot of people says this and says that, that's just a story. But Mr. Darnell was running down this way when he was filming, as Orville Nix was capturing still this part here. And then he got the side view of the shelter where we can see the gunman. Excuse me, I need to take a drink. But as I point out, when we look at this and we get this kind of information now, no other researcher, just like in my videos, you're not going to see this information anywhere else. You're only going to find it here. You're not going to find any of this information out anywhere else from nobody else, because they don't have this kind of information. They don't have no time frames on no films. They don't have no time frames on any of the shots. They don't have time frames on when this image was taken, when that image was taken. We have to look at this. Now you think about this for a moment. When you place images, which I want to bring this up right now, I want to show you something here. All right. Now we know for a fact now, by placing everything in time frames, Mary Mormon took her image, all right, 15.07 seconds when we're basing the time frame. Now the fatal headshot occurred to JFK at 14.06. Okay, this is another thing we pull information from, okay, is we're talking about the so-called badge man. Okay, the badge man they claimed was over here. He took the fatal headshot to JFK. No, he didn't. Because if you base everything back on time frames, which I'm going to pull this up here. Mary Mormon's photo, which I'm going to zoom in to where the so-called badge man was at. They said he was over in this location here. This is the badge man right here. And we can see the shot being taken. No, we're not. Because of the pure simple fact of it is Mary Mormon took her image right here, 1.01 seconds after the fatal headshot. After the fatal headshot. But the Mormon photo is showing a shot. No, the Mormon photo does not show a shot being taken from even this gunman right here, which we can clearly see this gunman right here. He's not taking a shot. He's actually looking out a window because he already took his shot, and the second gunman is coming around. Now, he's coming out from behind and coming around when she took her image. So she took it in between both of these shots. So see, even the Mormon photo, people points out the Mormon photo, but they don't know information on this photo. They don't know the information that, as you see here, they don't know this type of information. They don't know that she took her image right after the fatal headshot. She took image of two gunmen inside shelter number 3. She took the image of the gunman that took the fatal headshot to JFK. She took an image of the gunman that took a shot to Governor Conley. See, there's a lot of information here that people just pushes to the side because they're worried about one little badge man right here. Excuse me, one little badge man right here. When there wasn't none there. All it is tree leaves and sunlight reflect coming through the trees. Okay. Now there's people out there sitting there saying, if you look at the Mormon photo, they're saying the gunman's right here. And they're saying the gunman's right here. Now, let me show you something. Is there a gunman? Can you clearly see a gunman right here or a gunman right here? But they're saying they're there. They're saying the gunmen are there, right on this side of the picket fence, right here or right here, and there is nobody there. See, this is why people don't understand that when I do my research, and it's so important me making these videos, because, you know, like I said, people out there don't have money to buy books or anything, and I don't try to force my books on people. But people need to know this information because there's every day that goes by, it gets harder on somebody like me. Okay. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good researchers out there. I met a lot of good ones and a lot of brilliant researchers out there. But they're being held back. The reason why they're being held back is because all these false claims and all these storytellers are out there pushing all this false information and saying one thing or another, okay, which it makes it harder on the true researchers and the true research to be presented because there's too many people out there judging us. They do, they judge us. And how I know they judge us is because they say, well, this person said this person said that. Okay, how many researchers do you know out there, or JFK researcher, Bigfoot researcher, any other type researcher, will give you their phone number? I will. They won't. I have talked to people on the phone. I've called them. They email me and I've called them and I've talked to them on the phone. Okay. How many researchers are going to give you the exact contact information like I do? They don't. How many researchers are going to take time out to answer questions? They won't. They'll say, buy their book. I mean, haven't told me. They told me, hey, buy the book. You want to know, you want to see my evidence, Leroy? Buy my book. That's what they tell me, either in an email or even on the phone. But hey, if you got the evidence, show it. Why hide it? What they said to us is, well, if you show your evidence, what do you got to gain from it? You got to gain a lot. You got to gain truth. People knows the truth. But no, it's not that, they say. They say, no, where are you making money at then? You ain't, if you show all your evidence up front, that's why they get so mad at me for even making these videos. Because if I show all my evidence up front, who's going to buy your book then? Nobody's going to buy your book. Even the people that has money, they're not going to buy your book because you're showing them all the evidence to begin with. You don't do that stuff when you do research. Yeah, you do that stuff when you do research. That's what makes my research so different. That's what makes me different than any other researcher out there, because I'm going to show you and I'm going to tell you. Okay. To me, it's not, like I said, it's not always about the money. I mean, I spent my own money doing my own investigations. No one's donated no money to me. If you look at other people's research, they're going to say, donate money to me or donate to my site and stuff. Yeah, I got a donation out there, but that's to make a documentary. All right. But I don't ask for this or ask for that because no one has that money to, to help out. I believe everybody in the whole world needs to know the truth. That's why I make my videos and everything else. Just like here, people ask me questions. If it gets a little bit long where I can't answer an email, I want to answer it in a video. And then after I get done making a video and posting it, I'll send them the link to the video so they can watch it, so they can see what how I answer their questions. Okay. But like I said, I wanted to make this and show people, because everybody still has that in their mind of how this gunman took this shot and everything else. Even though I made videos and explained this before in other videos, okay, that's why in this video here I went a little bit more in depth and show you even some of the images that I've done where I place them in time frames where it shows me and stuff so you can get more insight on it, is because of it takes a long time. I mean, we're covering 12 years of an investigation. And in 12 years, I had to do a lot of, pinpointing and figuring things out and placing things back in their positions and talking to people and going over other people's research and say, hey, wait a minute, questioning that, but then look into it and see if they are right or if they are wrong. Okay. Which I found a lot of it was wrong, but then you got people still playing. Just like some guy asked me, says, like Ed Hoffman, what does he have to gain? Which I want to answer that one in this one as well. What does Ed Hoffman have to gain? Why would he lie, and stuff like that? Well, what does he have to gain? Fame, a name in history books. To be in a documentary, they usually pay pretty good. Be on TV, people gets to know their name, they become famous. That's what he has to gain. Because they said, what does Ed Hoffman have to gain? I think the comment, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I admit it. I think the comment he says, why would Ed Hoffman, come up with a story? What does he have to gain out of it? I think that was it. If I'm not, I'm mistaken, but somewhere around there. Well, like I said, Ed Hoffman has a lot to gain. Fame, glory, money. That's a lot to gain from it, ain't it? Get your names in the history books. So yeah, you actually do get a lot from it. Just like me, I tell people I'm not into looking for fame and glory. Okay, I'm not. I'm presenting the truth. I even tell people, as long as this truth gets out, I don't care who puts it out. Because I got researchers stealing my stuff every day. All right, I'm not looking for fame. Some people thinks, hey, they put me on that pedestal of being famous. So I don't like that stuff. I'm a normal person. I'm like everybody else. I mean, I actually had one person. I'll probably watch this video. He'll probably watch this here. He says I'm like a god to him. No, no, please don't. You know, I am not. I don't put myself in that type of category. God is God. Okay. And I appreciate, what people claim, tell me and stuff. Like people says it was an honor to talk to me on the phone. To me, it's an honor to talk to the people. Okay. I get, when people talks to me and they get the full story from me, it's me that feels good inside because it's like an honor of me talking to them. Even though they say it's an honor to talk to me, but no, it's an honor to talk to you because it's you that deserves the truth, not me. It's you, the people, deserves the truth, not me. And I'm willing to take that time to give you that truth. That's what I do here. Okay. I appreciate the comments, whether it's good or bad. I appreciate it. Okay. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the people that talk to me on the phone and stuff. I appreciate every bit of it. And that's what makes me feel good. And that's my earning inside, knowing that people knows the truth. That's what keeps me going. So I hope you like this video here because, I give a little more detail. Sorry for rambling on there, but there's little things I want to cover up as well and cover over. But don't forget that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. Hit that like button down below. share this video on all the social media, share my other videos on other social media and stuff. And for who out there, in the description down below, you're always going to find a site where you can order my book, Evidence of Conspiracies, on paperback or Kindle. Okay. When you do get that kind of type of money to save up, I would strongly advise you should buy it, either for somebody's birthday or holidays or anything else like that, because then each book that's sold not only is going to help us out trying to get that documentary goal, which we're far from it still, but I want to get that documentary made. But also, I know that the truth is out there and the truth is being shown. So don't forget that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to get ready to go to bed because I've been up all night doing paranormal investigations. Thank you, and you have a pleasant, pleasant day.